So up to this point, um, we have programmed a robot that does something very simple. It basically moves its wheels 10 radians. So yeah, if I click play, you can see that it basically does that. But I guess you can realize that this this doesn't make a lot of sense from a engineering perspective. Just to have a robot that moves like a fixed quantity and then stops. So the next thing we are going to do, which is the very last thing, is actually we are going to extend the robot functionality so that it's going to move continuously a set speed, which is the way you usually work with robots. So this is the very last speed that we are going to work with. It starts exactly the same as the previous example. From controller we import robot and motor, and we set the time step of our robot simulation to 64. And then um, we also set this variable max speed to 6.28, which is twice pi, so pi. So the number pi multiplied by 2, 6 to 28. It's just a common way of setting like a max speed constant to make the calculations. So we create a robot exactly as before. Robot equals robot parentheses. So this creates the robot object that we assign into the robot variable. So now exactly the same as before. We get access to the left motor with robot.device left with motor, and the same with the right motor. But now the main difference that you are going to find now is that we are saying that the position of the robot is going to be infinite. Remember that before the position of the robot was 10, so now the position of the robot it's going to be like infinite. And basically we get this with this like number, like you can ignore this in Python if you want, but basically here between quotation marks inf means the number infinite that we are converting to a floating number. So before we were saying to the robot to move 10 radians, now we are going to say to move continuously, never stop moving. But the next thing we are going to do is that we are going to set its speed. So the same way we can set the position of the motor, saying left motor dot set position as some value, we can also set its speed. So we can say left motor dot set velocity, and in this case it's going to be a 10% of max speed. So it's going to be 0.1 multiplied by max speed. So remember that max speed is twice pi. So this is going to be the 10% of twice pi. So basically we are setting the motor to move continuously to the infinite, and then we are controlling the speed at which the motor is going to rotate with the set velocity command. And then basically we are doing the same as before, like while robot step, which in this case remember is 64, is different to -1, execute one step of the simulation, which in this case is going to do nothing, but we are executing one step of the simulation here. So let's let's yeah let's modify the code to do this. So now we are again in webots. So the first line is the same, the second line is the same, the third line, so we are setting max speed equals 6.28, and we create the robot and we get access to the left and the right wheel. The main change now is that we are going to set the position, the final position to infinite, and I'm going to do exactly same here, so infinite. And now I'm also going to I'm going to write a comment to set the speed. So set up the motor speeds at 10% of the max speed. So here I can do like left motor dot set velocity 0.1 multiplied by max speed. I'm going to copy paste this, and then here is going to the right motor, set speed 0.1 of max speed, and then everything else it's going to be exactly the same. And now when I click the play button, you can see that the robot is actually moving very slowly, but you know it's moving more than before, and you will see that it's going to move continuously, and I'm going to accelerate it, but you can see that it moves continuously against the wall